So what the flip is Dork Social Club and who the heck is this guy? Okay, so this video is an in-depth of who I am, like I just said, and what is Dork Social Club. And this video is for if you're interested in working with me, or if you're interested in just getting to know me better, or you're just wanting to know how everything started, or what I've done in the past, or again, why the heck I even decided on the name Dork Social Club, or whatever the case is, then this video is for you. So stay tuned. I hope you enjoy this, and please, if you have any questions at all, feel free to comment, DM me on Instagram, or you can get a hold of me through the contact info via my.com. All the links will be linked down below if you're interested in working with me, or like I said, contacting me in any way, shape, or form. So let's get into this. So my name is Steven Kinsley, and I currently live in Prescott, Arizona. This is actually where I grew up. I actually grew up in a little town called Chino Valley, Arizona, which is 15 minutes north, I want to say, of Prescott. But anyways, this is where I'm currently at right now. I have been married to my beautiful, dopest, freaking coolest wife ever for 13 years. And she's just the freaking coolest. She grew up out here as well. And I just can't see my life without her. She's my favorite. She's my favorite. She's my best friend. And I just can't wait for many, many more years, with her. Yeah. So anyways, I just love her a whole lot. We have 3 freaking pretty dang cool kids together. You will not know their age or their names because it's the internet, and that's pretty dang weird. We have 2 really awesome pups. One of them is a Great Pyrenees. She's about 1.5 years old, and her name's Lily. She's freaking cool. And then our old dog, Cooper. Yeah, we love him. We love him so much. He is a good dog. He's not old. I think he's like 5 or 6, something like that. But he is a good dog. So as long as I can remember, music has always been something that has been really, really, really important to me. I grew up playing guitar. I grew up, singing in bands and playing and all that stuff, and always wanted to get more into like drums and things like that, but really just stuck with guitar and vocals and whatever. So I currently sing in a post-hardcore band called NRWHL. So it's NRWHL if you want to look us up. It's actually NRWHL Sucks everywhere. We've been releasing a bunch of singles, been getting some really awesome opportunity, which has just been the coolest. We technically are a Christian band as well. We sing about Jesus. We love him so much, and we do this for the Lord, which is really freaking cool. I love those dudes. They're some of my best friends, and it's really cool, the opportunity that we're having. I always say that I expected to actually be doing this in my 20s, not in my 30s, traveling around the United States right now, which is crazy to even, to even say that we do that, playing our music, getting really crazy, weird opportunities. So we have a bunch of music videos. We're releasing a bunch of music right now as well too. So if you're interested in any of that, I will link this down below as well. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty rad. And then if you know anything about me, I love cameras. I pretty much have always had a camera in my hand since I was a kid. And my film camera's over there, but I'm loving film recently. And I'm carrying around a Canon F1. I'll put up some photos right now. And I've just been loving it. Been loving film, been really, really gravitating towards film. Been digging some black and white stuff recently. Ilford HP5 baby. Anyways, loving that camera. And then I also love videography, I don't know if you could tell or not, but I love doing video. Actually, technically, currently I do own a production company as well that offers photo and video. I am slowly trying to get that, to go away so I can just do full-time dork, because I love helping people grow brands and businesses, which we're gonna talk about here very, very soon. But love cameras, love playing music. I have the coolest family ever, live in Prescott, Arizona. And the last bullet point I have, and it's something that's really important to me, and hopefully I don't make anyone uncomfortable here, but I love Jesus a whole lot. I'm a Christian. Jesus found me at a very, very, very young age and just grabbed my heart, and I've just been sold ever since. I've had some pretty crazy things happen in my life. I have a pretty dang cool testimonial, and there's no other way to explain it other than Jesus. So I love him so much. He is everything. I owe him everything, and I just can't believe what he's done for my life. So that is, in a nutshell, who I am. Yes, I love art. Yes, I love skateboarding. I grew up as an art kid. I am a creative, and for some reason, just love business. I was never good at school. I was always an art kid, but just weirdly enough, fell in love with the idea of business and all the back end and the systems and the processes and business is so cool. And for some reason, it just makes my gears turn in my head. But I'm also a creative, and I also love music and all that stuff, right? It's really funny, and I feel like I shouldn't be wired this way, but I am. So anyways, that is me in a nutshell. That is who I am. And let's get into essentially before Dork Social Club, and then we'll get into Dork Social Club. So before Dork Social Club, so technically about 10 years ago, I started my first company. And the reason why I started my first company is because it's very, very personal, but my middle child, she caught a very, very weird disease called infant botulism. There's like some crazy low, number of people that get it. It's like 2% of whatever get it, right? And you can only get it if you're 0 to about a year old. And so she was 6 months and she got it. And it essentially it shuts down everything in your body. And then the last thing it shuts down is your lungs. And so not to get into detail, but my wife was at the hospital. I was pretty sick at home with our other child. And she was essentially limp. She was like a rag doll, and my wife was freaking out. And the doctor was like playing with her, and then all of a sudden her lungs shut down. So they put the tube down her throat and then flew her to Seattle Children's Hospital. That's where we lived. We lived in Washington at that time. And it was terrifying. It was very terrifying. Her heart stopped 2 or 3 different times. She stopped breathing multiple times, and she was just this little baby. I actually did not think we were going to come home with our little girl. And so she's way older now, and she's very healthy, and she's good. But in that time, I was working dead-end job after dead-end job after dead-end job. And that's the thing, is I was a really good employee. The only time I quit was to become an entrepreneur, and I did it how normal people do it. I just left. I walked out, right? But before then, I only had a couple of jobs. I held a job for years and years and years, and I always put in my 2 week to a month, and I always did what I was told, and I was a really good employee. I was someone that you wanted on your team, right? And there was people that were trying to get me to get on their team constantly and things like that because they saw that. This is not a toot of my own horn. This is just me just painting a picture of like, I wasn't just this deadbeat or whatever, jumping from job to job to job. No, I actually was a really good employee. But I'm sitting there in the hospital looking at my daughter who's 6 months old. She has everything connected to her. She's, intubated with the thing, down her throat. And I just went, yeah, I haven't spent any time with her. All I've been doing is working. All I've been doing is traveling for work. All I've been doing was putting overtime for work. All I've been doing is trying to get a savings account. All I've been doing is trying to save, pay our bills and whatever the case is. And I don't want to say I didn't know her, but I didn't get to spend that much time with her. And so right then and there, I made the decision after talking to my wife that I was going to put in my 2 weeks, or actually that I was just going to essentially become an entrepreneur and go after this dream that I had to own a recording studio. And at the time I was in the hospital. We were there for about a month, and my job was calling me saying I had to come back. And I told them I wasn't. And then I went back for a little bit, a couple weeks or whatever the case is. And I couldn't do it. My brain was going crazy. And then I essentially just walked out. I left, and I never quit like that before. It actually really messed with me. I wish I would have put in my 2 weeks and did it right, whatever the case is. But my brain was like malfunctioning. It was weird. I don't know how to explain it. So I don't recommend that. I also don't recommend doing this thing without a savings account because I did not have a savings account. But anyways, so I left. I started a recording studio. Technically, it was more of a mixing and mastering, like focused studio, and loved it. It was so freaking fun. And if you don't know anything about the recording, process, there is capturing audio, which is recording. There is mixing and mastering, which are, doing compression and EQ and finding different frequencies and boosting and things like that. And then there is mastering, which is mastering everything together. So all your different, songs for an EP, LP, whatever the case is. And then, mastering engineers will be really upset that I said this, but it's essentially how you get the volume, right? It's how you get the volume that Spotify and iTunes and records and stuff like that needs, right? There's way more in the depth that goes into the mastering process, but that is essentially it, right? So don't get mad at me. I just tried to dumb it down for a lot of people. including myself. So sorry, mastering engineers out there. But essentially that's what I did for a very long time. So we lived out in Washington at that time. This is where we grew up and met. We met in Prescott, Arizona, my wife and I, but we moved out to Washington for a while, had a couple kids, decided that we wanted to come back right before COVID, about 2019. And then we started the Den. So our recording studio was called Virgil Sound Den. My music venue that I opened was called The Den. And so The Den was my childhood dream. And I told my wife that if we ever moved back to Prescott, Arizona, I'm starting I'm starting a music venue. And she was like, fine, I don't care, whatever. And then as we were driving home, I was like, hey, remember we talked about this like 5 years ago? She's like, yeah. I'm like, I think I want to do this. She's like, yeah, I think you should. It's like, cool. So I'm going to start this, and I want to call it The Den because Virgil Sound Den, and then The Den, and then I love the idea around the Den about just giving a place for it's essentially giving a home, right? And that's what my whole motto was. It was giving a safe place for these kids, a safe home essentially. So if you're all age, it's an all ages music venue, and I just really had a heart for the kids in this area because of me, of how I grew up. I grew up where there was nothing out here, right? And I wanted to just give a place where these kids could come, they could skate, they could listen to music, they could drink coffee, they could hang out, they could feel like an adult, but no one's gonna treat them like a kid there. But then also like, it's a very safe place. It's not at a bar, it's not in the woods doing things they shouldn't have, right? Or they shouldn't be doing. So that's what the Den was. We opened up 15 days before COVID was a thing. So it's February 15th, 2020. Yeah, 2020. And did not know about COVID. COVID hit. We sat for 2 years completely empty. I had a 3-year lease. And in that 2 years of time, essentially, I built this brand to an international clothing brand, essentially, which is crazy to think about. So we were a music venue. We were building out a coffee shop. We had a giant half pipe in our backyard that we actually never got to build because of the city and a bunch of other things. And it just really angers me to think about that, right? Because the half pipe was sick. Just sat under tarps. It's terrible. But anyways, so I couldn't play, we actually couldn't play music, couldn't serve coffee because we had to build it out and also wasn't allowed at the time. So how, was I gonna make money? So I ended up taking this brand, and like I said, I built it internationally, and then we started selling hoodies all over. And then the question you should be asking yourself is, how do you sell hoodies in t-shirts and sticker packs and patches and things like that with a company that has never been open, never made $1 yet, by opening up their doors and having a show? Well, we sold, the mission, and we sold the community, and we really painted the picture on that, and we really had those, those true fans, not 1,000 true fans, but we had the theory of 1,000 true fans who were actually working for us, and it was amazing to watch. That company was the coolest thing to be a part of. It was the coolest thing to push. It was the coolest thing ever to do. We were dealt a really weird hand. A lot of people were in 2020, which is the worst thing ever. And then we had to close it essentially at year 3. We opened up for a year. We did an insane amount of shows. Never had the coffee shop fully open. I was searching for investors and things like that, and it just never actually happened. And then essentially what killed us, I guess I can tell you this, essentially what killed us is that I had 2 investors ready to go. I was about ready to sign that 3-year, another 3-year lease in our building. And when Russia invaded Ukraine, my 2 investors pulled out. And I just couldn't put my family through this anymore. There was a lot of stress. I was working 16-hour days with no pay, doing videography on the side, which I'm gonna get to in a sec. And it was very, very stressful. It was very stressful. I put my family through a lot. A lot of people didn't see that side because I didn't show it. I didn't put stuff online, right? All I was pushing was the Den. People love the Den. They still stop me to this day, and it's been 3-4 years later. They still stop me going, hey, bring it back, please. I miss it. This town needs it, right? They still stop me all the time, but they didn't see the side that was really affecting my kids and my wife, right? Pretty much didn't see me for about 3 years. So it's okay. It's okay. Did what I had to do. But there's a reason why I'm not doing this, and I'm not doing that anymore, because funding issues essentially was not a brand issue or a mission issue or a people or a traffic issue. It was a funding issue through and through. City was not a big help. There's some crazy stories with that. I won't get into that. And yeah, just really needed to do it for my family. So when I closed that, I actually kind of started a production company while the den was still a thing. I did not have a plan B, but posting content and photos and video and all that stuff via the den, people were hitting me up going like, yo, dude, like who is doing all this? And I was like, oh, it's me. That's me. They're like, cool, you want to make some money? I'm like, I'd love to make some money because the den's not making any money and the money it's making is going back into the den, right? So a video production company started because of the den. And then once the den closed, I took this thing and went full time. It's funny because it doesn't really have a name. It's just me. I'm the production company and people hire me and things like that, whatever the case is. And then I still currently have that production company as well. So the thing is though, with every single company that I've owned, right? From the recording studio to the den to the videography company and like little side things, stuff like that, I always thought in the back of my head, it'd be really cool to help out people grow their brands and their business. And the reason why is because after I would record a band or I'd mix and master a band or after a band would play the den and no one else is around, they're loading up gear and I'm hanging out by, with them essentially, or after a video shoot or a photo shoot, I'd get into these conversations with every single one of these people going like, hey, well, my business is struggling. Like, do you have any recommendations? Or what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And I'm like, oh, you should try this. Or, oh, you should try that. Or, this is what I did with this social media marketing, campaign or tactic, whatever you want to call it. You should try that. Or, hey, well, in your brand, you're missing this, and this. You should fix those things. Here, I'll send you over some notes. And I just continued to do that. And the next thing you know, I was seeing results. I was seeing people going like, hey, dude, remember what you told me? Well, we just got a record deal because of that. Or, hey, dude, like I booked these tours. Or, hey, dude, our release just went really well because of what you told me. Or, hey, with the video side of things, we're like, hey, like, Mr. Business or Mrs. Business, right? I tried these things with my business and it's working. It's growing. I can't thank you enough for this. And I was doing it for free. And so while all that was going, and this was more or less, like I said, during the recording studio and then the den times, and as the den was starting to look like it was going to close and the video company was going to start taking off, I was thinking to myself, it'd be really cool to start this thing. And so right around then, I was like, oh, it'd be really cool to call it Dork Social Club. And the reason why I wanted to call it Dork Social Club is because I love the idea of standing out. Every single business that I've had has stood out, right? My recording studio was called Virgil's Sound Den. It wasn't called 123 Productions, or it wasn't called 456 Recordings, or insert whatever old guy name you could find for recording studios. No, it was called Virgil's Sound Den, right? There's a whole story behind that. And then the den, right? There's a whole story behind that as well. Actually, I guess I already kind of told you, like I wanted people to feel safe and whatever. But I love building brands and businesses that stand out. And so how did I wanted to encourage people to build bold brands with a bold name. And then also I love the idea of essentially not fitting in. And so the dork table, right? I always thought it was the coolest thing ever, especially growing up, because I don't know, like we didn't really even have a dork table like in our high school. But like the idea of the dork table is that those kids, they're smart, they're unique, they're artistic, they're a little strange, they're a little weird, and most of them are freaking successful. Like those are the people you have to look for. It's not the prom queen or king. It's not those ding dongs, right? Those guys fit the mold. Those guys do the same old thing. I give the analogy of like essentially be the wave. Like you're the one like you're the boat making the wakes for the other people to essentially ride. You're not riding the wake. You're the boat making the wakes, right? So that's the analogy I give. That's not to be mean, but that's who the prom king and queen are, right? Like the people that are who are the boat are the kids at the dork table, or the people that don't want to fit in, or the people that are ruffling feathers. Those are the people that are at the dork table, and those are the people that are building freaking awesome things, right? They're building the coolest things ever. I just had that idea of the dork table essentially because I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. And this is my thing is like, I don't think I'm a dork. I don't think any of my clients are dorks, right? It's just setting the playing field of going like, look, like you should not fit in. You should not be like everyone else, right? Dorks are cool. Dorks are the ones that are leading the pack. I already said the whole thing with the boat. I don't want to go down that whole rabbit trail or whatever, but Dork Social Club, it's a good thing. To be a dork is a good thing, right? Especially in business, because when you are riding the wake, you're just the second best, or you're the fifth best, or you're the third best, right? You're not the one guiding the path. You're not the one who's making those wakes, right? You're not the boat. So anyways, I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. Yeah, and so that's kind of where the name came from, right? I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. But the reason why I started Dork Social Club is because of me 10 years ago. So me 10 years ago was, this kid trying to figure out how to provide for his family and do something really freaking cool, like own a recording studio, mixing and mastering studio, stuff like that. But I had no idea where to start. It was if I told myself when I first started that I'd be doing this with cameras and mics and lights, I would have passed out. I literally remember telling my wife that I'm never doing that content thing. It's super cringy. It's super whatever. I can't believe people do that. I'm just gonna make really cool music, a really cool product, and people are gonna come to me. I was very wrong. I was very wrong. And not to get crazy into it, but like my very first piece of content, I started this podcast called Learn from the Pros. That's what it was called. It was for my recording studio. And it was essentially, I was interviewing people that were on the road and trying to help out people who wanted to get there, right? Like, how do you become a touring drummer, and pay your bills, right? So it was a really cool podcast, but I remember walking up the stairs to my studio, dry heaving, about ready to throw up because I was gonna interview this guy for my very first episode, and I was like shaking. Like, it was bad. Like, I was like having a straight on panic attack. It was really funny. Interview went really well. One of the best interviews I've ever done, honestly, in my opinion. Really cool guy. And yeah. So again, I started this thing to help out people grow their businesses, right? Build insanely bold businesses, right? The whole thing I've just been talking about, and do it from a standpoint of, look, I'm not this guru guy who drives a freaking Ferrari or whatever, or who's trying to like lift a bunch or whatever the case is. I'm a creative who loves brand building, who loves coaching, who loves helping people who are like me, right? I want to help out other people that are just like me. Like, I don't cut my hair for a reason because I love long hair. I think it's really freaking cool. I'm in a hardcore band because I love that music. I draw and do art and decorate my office like this because I think it's cool, right? I want to work with people who want to work with me, that are like me, that are like that. And yeah, so again, I started Dork Social Club to help me 10 years ago build insanely bold businesses, right? And seriously, like, doing what you love to do and making money at it, it's not that hard. You just got to do it properly. And that's what I do. I help people with that. So I kind of got a little bit off of my bullet points here, but yeah, just to kind of touch them to kind of touch on these really quick. I was just sick and tired of building someone else's dream, right? I was working dead-end jobs, like I already talked about, and I was so sick and tired of just building someone else's dream, right? And I just really wanted to do my own thing. Being creative, didn't want to cut my hair. I guess I did talk about that. Oh, this is one thing right here, is I don't think providing for your family needs to be miserable. I was miserable, and I did everything. I did anything you can think of, from serving tables to crawling underneath homes, fixing things, stuff like that. Like, I was miserable. And I don't think you need to be miserable and make money to provide for your family. So use your powers, right? Use your creative strengths on how to actually make a product that actually serves someone, that actually helps someone, helps that pain point, and then sell it. And it's a very easy process. It's a very easy process to do. And I've just figured it out over time, doing it the hard way, learning from other people, but also just literally failing over and over and over and over and over again. And I want to help you not fail. And I want to help you get that process and build that foundation as fast as possible. So for me, Dork Social Club, that's the dream. Again, I've been thinking about this day one of entrepreneurship. So about a decade ago, I've been thinking about how I can help people. And I love helping people. So this is my dream job. This is my dream thing that I get to do. And I just love helping all different types of different businesses. It keeps my brain sharp, honestly. Even though I feel like it's not that sharp and failing in other places, I feel like it's thriving in brand building and helping businesses and helping people. So yeah, every day I want to wake up and I want to help people build bold, crazy, awesome businesses that thrive. And it's something that I'm just crazy passionate about too. Again, like I have this business over here, but I'm thinking about this over here. This is what's paying the bills, but I want to start this business over here. And why is that? Well, I believe, right? Not to get all whatever, but I believe that God has put something inside of me to, has that fire inside of me to help people with this. So I feel like I'm truly put here on this earth to do this. So here's what I do in a nutshell, and then I'll explain the Dork blueprint, and then I'll be done with this video. So I help out misfits, right? So people who don't want to fit in, we already talked about this, build insanely bold businesses. So either from grounds, you're also starting these businesses, or if you're in that 1 year to about 10 years and you're just not figuring it out, it's not growing, it's not getting any worse, or it is getting worse, but it's not growing, and you just need some help, that is where I thrive. I love starting businesses, and I love helping businesses completely flip and go upwards, essentially, right? I just love it. I think it's just the funnest, the coolest thing ever. And again, I love doing this so freaking much. Okay, so all my links are down below if you want to check out any of my website and more about me, or anything like that. All my offers, all my programs, courses, things like that, all of that is linked down below. And essentially, I wanted to explain the Dork Blueprint because I'm really excited about this. So the Dork Blueprint is my framework, what I teach, okay? It is essentially the idea of we're building you a home, that your business is a home, and you need very specific things in this home to have a home, right? Like, for instance, the key parts of this framework are the foundation. So I help you build the foundation, I help you build the 4 walls, I help you build the roof, and then I help you build the porch. And every single one of them has a different meaning, has a different reason of being there, just like you would in a house, right? If you don't have 4 walls, if you have 2 walls, well, is your roof gonna stay up, right? It's not. If you have 4 walls, a roof, and a porch, but your foundation's made on dirt, I mean, it'll last a little bit, but it'll start falling over and cracking and moving, and you'll have to repair it a bunch, and it's just not a good investment, right? If you have an awesome foundation and an awesome 4 walls, but your roof has holes in it, well, you're gonna ruin the foundation, you're gonna ruin the walls, you're gonna ruin the paint and the furniture and all that stuff that's in this house, right? So it all works together and it's all sound. So that's what the Dork Blueprint does, is it helps you through that whole entire process. So currently, depending on when you watch this, there might be different offers and stuff as well. But currently I have 2 offers right now, it's DIY or die, or build the damn thing. So DIY or die is literally me giving you all the worksheets, me giving you everything, and then you get 1 hour of consulting time with me on a phone call, and you can divvy that up 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever the case is, or just do one full 1 hour. And then that's yours. You can take that and run that. It is what it is. Hopefully it works for you. DIY or die, baby. Or build the damn thing, which is essentially I build this thing with you, right? For 90 days, we build this sucker together, and it's a sprint, and it's sick. And I help you build the foundation, 4 walls, roof, and porch. And I show you how they work. And then I give you a really sick, essentially it's like a pitch deck, but it has all your things in there, right? It has all of your stuff that we worked on. So it's a really good referral guide, something you can give to your logo person, your website developer, something that you can look back on. And again, it's an awesome tool, essentially it's a tool, right? For you to grow your business. You have a framework, you have a plan, and it's setting you, essentially to win and push forward. And it's so cool. I think it's the coolest thing ever. But everything revolves back to that framework, right? So depending on if I have different offers or different things or different programs or whatever case in the future, it will always, essentially just circulate around that orbit, or whatever you want to call it, around that blueprint. I love it. I think it's the coolest thing ever. I've been working on it for a while now, and I think it's really freaking dope. And then if I do any type of like custom consulting and stuff like that, that will still follow the blueprint. It'll just look a little bit differently because I'm finding you where you're at and then fixing things around you essentially, right? So if it's, custom consulting or any of my programs or any of my courses, it all goes around that framework because it's sound and it works. And it's pretty freaking cool, not gonna lie. So that is that. That is the end of the video. Subscribe, like, DM me, follow me on Instagram, sign up for an email list. I love giving you guys value. I love giving you guys things that you can go do for free, right? Worksheets, guides, videos, things like that. And seriously, hopefully you liked this video. Hopefully you liked me. Hopefully you hit me up and we can work together, because I would love to hear about your business. It gets me freaking so cool and excited and whatever. And again, I would just yeah, love to hear what you're doing and what you're working on. So it's something that I truly, truly find joy in. So anyways, hit me up, DM me, comment down below, subscribe, do all the dumb things, and I will talk to you all very, very soon. Thanks.